Using a sharp craft knife, carefully remove parts 1H and 1K from the pre-cut framework. Once we've done that, we're going to clean up the edges and then we're going to join the two parts together. What we suggest is that we just remove the parts from the framework as and when we need them. Now, once we've removed pieces 1H and 1K from the pre-cut framework, clean up the edges and remove any little splinters. And once we've done that, we're going to glue the two parts together like so, and as you can also see in your instructions. Okay. Now remove pieces 1D and 1C, placing them on a flat surface, and glue them together and leave them to dry before using them, as we've just done here. Once you've done that and you've allowed that to dry, as you can see here, remove part 1J and then just test fit before gluing it into position as shown here. Okay, so go ahead, clean that up and then glue that into position. Next, remove part 1P from the wooden fret. Just test fit that like so, and then once you've done that, as you can see there, glue that into position. Next, remove part 1M, give it a good clean up on the edges very carefully, and then just test fit it into position as shown here. Once you're happy with that, then glue that down into position. Next, remove parts 1E and 1L, clean them up, and then once you've test fitted them, glue those down into position as shown. Next, remove parts 1N and 1O from the fret and just double check, because 1N needs to go in the position of 10 as we've shown here. Okay, so that 10, as in the instructions shown at the front, needs to go to the back. Double check and make sure the orientation as well, making sure that they're in the right position and are not upside down. And you can check that by looking down the centre, making sure that the curvature is in line with the rest of the front of the fuselage as shown in the following photographs. So do that and then glue those down into position. Once you've done that, do exactly the same to the other side as shown here, making sure that 1N goes to the front and 10 goes to the back. Once you've done that, remove parts 1F and 1B from the fret, and then place in 1B in position here, test fitting it, 1B and 1F, so that's 1F and then 1B at the front. Once you're happy with that, give them a clean up and then glue those into position, and then get ready to remove part 1A from the wooden fret, and we're next going to glue that into position. Move and prepare part 1A and then glue that down into position like so. Now take the edge of a flat needle file and just gently file the slots of the stringers on part 1A, so that when we come to fit in the stringers fit in there nicely. Okay, and there will be some slight sanding that will need to be done later, so we need to make sure that the stringers fit inside here. So get a flat edge of a flat file and just gently work around, making sure that these slots are opened up slightly. Okay. Now before we move on to the following steps and we start adding the stringers, we're going to be painting the framework in green. This is so that we've got access to some of the more confined spaces at the front of the fuselage, because once the stringers are on, you're going to find it difficult to get any paintbrush in there. So just make sure that you don't get any paint on the outside edges and also the recesses where the stringers are going to be fitted. Right, once the paint is fully dried, as you can see here, we're going to start adding the stringers. Okay, so just read up on the instructions that you've got, placing the stringers in the tiny little notches, okay, and gluing those down into position, and any excess on the ends of the stringers just gently clean up with a very sharp craft knife. Okay, so follow the instructions and the sequence of photographs as we put the stringers on in all of the little ribs. Next, take the 30mm piece of dowel and just gently round off the edges so that you can see here, and then mark off each end at 4mm and then cut each 4mm piece off. Once you've done that, glue the two dowel pieces into position like so, and also glue the two supplied magnets into position like so. Once the glue is dried, then paint the back of the bulkhead the same colour as the rest of the nose section. As you can see, we've now painted the fuselage with the green all over, okay, and prior to that we've given it a sanding over on the edges, getting rid of any bad edges or anything, okay, and any filling that needs to be done, okay.